It's only.
I feel like they.
Why you have to be mad?
Sorry, what was that?
Is he in Nashville? Am I close geographically?
They've
The
been cooking it
contracts.
up.
The contracts are coming in.
No one knows what he is. He's a big orange monster
What's
with
he?
googly eyes.
He's
and
a gritty.
Okay.
Little.
The Florida League.
What do you think of Owen's bracket? Do you remember it?
It's hopeful.
All right, welcome, episode 43, Bread Loves Hockey Podcast. Dean's here. That's always a good
Hi.
time. And I'm here too, Brad, your host. One of them, anyways. We have made it to the conference finals. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals is underway as we speak. Still nothing score. Well, there is a score, but there's no goals. I always hate when they're like scoreless. It's like, well, technically it's not scoreless because there is a score. It's goalless.
Well, I told you about Merrick's pet peeves about all the a good goal versus a goal. Like a good goal is just a goal.
Oh yeah.
And in the middle of the slot, like the slot is the middle.
Right,
things
that's
like
the
that.
definition of the
You can
slot.
have your own. Yours can be the score.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll copy something from Merrick's book there. Because I do have a couple of those, just language pet peeve sort of thing, like when people say ATM machine, or they'll say PIN number. It's like, well, that's
LED light.
Yeah. Stuff like that. But enough about the grammar pedantics. How about these round 2 series wrapping up? We didn't have anything concluded when we were recording last week on Wednesday. We're recording on Wednesday again today. And, we had a couple of Game 7s. And, actually, yeah. How many was it? 3? Or no, 2. 2 Game 7s, 2 Game 6s. I believe.
No, one game. Let's go in chronological order, shall we?
Sounds good.
So I think there's only one Game 7, but the day after we recorded last week, we had. Oh no, it was Game 6. The Rangers won in
Yeah.
Game 6.
So it was only one Game 7 then, because all the other ones were 6-game series.
Yeah, I was thinking Rangers in 5, but I forgot they had the little scariness happening where they.
The thing
They're
that
not gonna
Vegas
blow it.
did in the conference finals last year against Dallas, where they went up 3, they lost 2, and then everybody's like, oh, I don't know, and then they shellacked them in game 6.
I think a lot of times when you're up 3-0, you're expected to lose the next because the whole team's got their back against the wall, nothing to lose.
Yeah.
It's hard closing out a series, obviously, but then you do it a second time, and you're like, I don't know.
Oh
But
man, this isn't good. You don't wanna win 3, then lose 3, and then suddenly you're like, oh my god, how the hell did we get here? We were sitting pretty a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
But they stave off elimination.
Yep. So
Rangers.
Rangers win the series 4-2. Move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. Do you have any thoughts on the Rangers Carolina series?
It was another really tough loss for Carolina. They have just really struggled as a fan base as far as feeling like they were so close every year, and then they keep coming up a goal short in these critical moments. They had lost their last at some point they had lost 8 straight 1-goal games in the playoffs. They lost a couple overtime games in this series against the Rangers. That's always difficult. And then they started a push, but it was too late. I don't remember the final score of the game 6, but I don't think
5-3.
Yeah, I didn't think it was super close.
It's tough because Carolina was up 2-0.
Oh, were they?
Yeah.
Did that one have a shorthanded goal in it? I know the Rangers.
That was
were
the
really
one
strong.
that Chris Kreider had the hat trick in the third period.
Oh, yeah, right.
He's just like, you know what? I think we'll win tonight.
I think tonight's the night, boys. We're done.
Yeah.
Let's go home.
But yeah, I mean, definitely tough for Carolina. I don't feel bad for them. I don't like Carolina.
I'm
But,
not
like,
really a big fan either.
as a franchise, they've kind of been against the like going out and getting rentals at the deadline, but they did that this year with Gensel and I think one or two other players. I feel like you would know better than me. I don't remember, but I know Gensel was obviously the
They
big
picked
one.
up Kuznetsov also,
Kuznetsov, right?
and I think maybe one smaller piece too, but yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, they added lots of good like top six scoring. Yeah, still couldn't get it done. Rangers obviously coming off the sweep in the first round, still looking really good. I guess the only argument you could make, which Zane brought up in the group chat, is power play merchants.
Yeah.
They only have 20 even strength goals through 10 postseason games. But with that, they have a 31.4% power play.
That's, yeah.
And I guess, I mean, the other thing is, you know, like, as each series goes on, like, once you get to game 6 and 7, the refs call less because they don't want to influence, like, the outcome. But by doing that, you're obviously influencing, especially if you're a team like the Rangers, where, you're not relying, but power plays definitely help you a lot more than other teams.
Yeah,
So.
the Panthers, jeez. The Hurricanes were horrible on the power play in this series. And they let up a couple. I think they let up multiple shorthanded goals in the series as well, which is like, yeah, clearly your special teams are just not working at all. But I don't think that was entirely the reason they lost, but it surely never helps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I guess if history is any indication, as you get further in the round, there'll be less calls. We'll see if that affects the Rangers negatively, or if they're actually just a really good team and then they'll be fine. But I think the next matchup, which we'll get to in a second, playing the Panthers, is going to be a good series.
I feel like it's going to be tough for the refs to put their whistles away in that series with like how physical both teams are going to be. I'm sure they probably already have been tonight. I don't know what the box is looking like right now, but
Florida has a couple players that like to embellish.
Yeah, a little bit. I know. Everybody was like, put Rempe in there to take care of Bennett and all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I guess we can talk about Florida if you have nothing else on the other series.
I think that's pretty much it. It's just like, you know, it wasn't their year again, which I know has been tough to swallow, and it did really feel like the Canes had a legitimate chance. I know Zach Spears put that futures bet at the start of the season on the Panthers to win the cup this year, so he didn't cash out on that one.
The Panthers or the
Hurricanes? Oh my God, I keep mixing them up.
Panthers on the mind. You want to talk about them?
The Carolina Panthers. Obviously, I got football on the brain. I feel like I'm not an NHL fan, like mixing up those two like that.
Yeah.
Oh well. There's only one penalty in the period so far. We got 5 minutes left. Booking call. But Panthers, the
Florida ones.
Yeah, the Florida ones
beat the Bruins 2-1 in Game 6 to move on to play the Rangers. It was a good game. The final goal that the Panthers scored was kind of like told a story of the series where the Bruins were looking for high danger chances the whole series and weren't just like throwing the puck on net, and that's kind of what the Panthers did at the end there. Just threw one on net. It went through a defender's like legs as they were closing their legs, like barely squeaked past Swayman, and that was the game-winning goal of the series. But as a Bruins fan, I think I've mentioned this already a couple of times, that like getting to the second round, playing with house money. No one expected us to beat the Panthers. I was happy to not lose to Toronto, especially after giving up the series lead, like we talked about. And I mean, we had a good effort. Like we talked about the refs. We won't go into that again, but whether the refs had an influence or not, who knows? I think maybe if we had made it to Game 7, anything could happen. Like it's a coin toss, but I think the Panthers are the better team, so they're the ones that move on. Um, this playoff loss hurt the least of the ones I can remember because again, like I didn't expect to even make it to the second round at the start of this year, seeing how the Bruins had lost their top 2 centers.
Yeah.
And we're kind of retooling, but there's a lot of optimism for next year with Lori looked great in the playoffs. Patra will be back. So lots to look forward to. We'll break it down further in the off season as well.
Yeah.
Vegas is off season, so we'll dive into that. But I'm obviously you can't be happy. You obviously, I didn't expect to win the cup, but you never know. But it doesn't hurt. I'm already pretty much over it. So
Yeah, we are recording, a little bit out from it, so the wound is not as fresh as it could have been. So it's kind of nice,
Days.
Yeah, nice to get you to digest it a little bit more, because it can be a little difficult. I mean, this game I don't think was as controversial as some of the previous games in the series, which is good, I guess. But you could certainly have a pretty valid opinion about it that the Bruins could have potentially stolen some games and potentially the series if the officiating was called differently. Some of those disallowed goals were reversed and what have you. So that's I think that's valid. There's certainly ways that the worst team can move on. If they get those bounces, if they find ways to grind out like some really close wins. So they weren't able to do it, but I think it was still a positive year for the most part. It was a fun year. And yeah, we'll see what happens with them going forward, how they're going to approach this off season. But for the Panthers, good for them, and 2 straight conference finals. I think a lot of people are expecting the Rangers to win that series, even though for some reason the Hurricanes were like the favorite, at least on like the JFresh Twitter fan poll. Apparently fans have gotten 11 out of the 12 series correct so far, which is pretty good actually, but that's the one that they got wrong. So we'll see what happens in this one.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Panthers won, but I think the Rangers are probably the favorite, probably like betting wise and everything. So yeah, I guess the only other thing I'll mention on the Bruins is like they announced their injuries at the end of season, and McAvoy was playing with an injured shoulder, which made a lot of sense because he didn't have a great series against Toronto, and even the Panthers, like he kind of stepped it up in the last game or two, but it makes a lot of sense why with that injury he wasn't playing at his top level. Forbort had torn like both his groins. He wasn't playing anyway.
Yeah.
And it's always, I don't want to say fun, but it's always interesting.
I know it's nasty. It's like kind of nasty to hear some of the stuff these guys go through. I know Grizzlick was out too, and there was another
Heinen
defender.
said he had some
Shattenkirk.
lingering injuries, but it didn't require surgery. Obviously, Marston had a concussion. That kind of could have figured out.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a bummer.
Yeah. All right. Next, chronologically, hours after the Bruins game, the Stars beat the Avalanche in double overtime after, in the first overtime, scoring but having it taken back for a goalie interference call.
Again, not them again, but again in the second round.
Playoffs have been, the refs have been very wishy-washy when it comes to that call, goalie interference, and no one seems to know whether it is or isn't. And I mean, you can tell just because teams are challenging, thinking it's a sure thing, and then having to kill a penalty after for getting it wrong. So even they don't really know anymore. So
I know. Do you know if the Avalanche challenged that, or if it was a review by the officials / Toronto for that one?
that's a good question.
I don't. I feel like I don't remember the Avs challenging it.
It might have
and
just been a
was,
review.
like,
Yeah.
initiated by the refs. Yeah, I think, myself and a lot of people thought that there was not enough there to constitute goaltender interference, and
Yeah, I
so
think
that, I'm sure it was very stressful for Dallas. Obviously, they end up getting it done anyways, so no harm done. But, you never know. It's like putting more ice time on these guys' bodies. Potentially you have an injury and an unnecessary, double or triple or whatever have you overtime. It only went to double. But, yeah, I think Dallas just showed up a lot more compared to Colorado. So I'm not really too shocked by the outcome. I didn't think that the Avs were going to be garbage, especially like coming out gangbusters from the Jets, but they just weren't deep enough, not as strong defensively as Dallas. And I don't know what their power play numbers were looking like, but I don't remember them being too extravagant.
Yeah, and they also lost their leading goal scorer at the time in Nichushkin.
Right.
That doesn't help. So we talked about like the game. They found out like on like hours before the game that they wouldn't be playing. So then they came out that game and did not play well. Like had like no shots in the first period, or like very low shots in the
Oh,
first
yeah.
period or two. And then yeah, seemingly didn't really recover from that. But the other thing is, happens all the time where you say a team looked terrible, but part of that is also the other team just being so good. And I think Dallas is one of those teams we've talked about. Top to bottom, their whole lineup is just very well stacked. Like their top six is good, their depth scoring is good, so like they can make a team like the Avs not look like the Avs.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, certainly credit goes to the Dallas Stars. Obviously, as a Vegas fan, I know how strong they are. So could have been us, but it wasn't. Isn't. I'm trying to find I can't find the playoff stats, but I have their regular season power play stats. Anyways, here we go.
In 13 games in the playoffs, they're 29%.
36.7. What
They're
did
almost
you?
as good as the Rangers, 29%.
Oh, 29%. Really, I have 36.7% for the Avalanche.
Oh, I thought. Oh, sorry, I was looking at Dallas.
Oh, Dallas.
So there you go. What are the Avalanche?
36.7. So I
man.
take back everything I said about them not having a good power play.
Hey, this can't be right.
I think the Avs are at like 40% at some point.
Apparently, well, I guess if they just played the Avs, Dallas's penalty kill is 69.2%. Not great.
Wow, actually, that's kind of a big one.
Yeah.
And obviously they're playing Edmonton in the Western Conference Finals, so they have a pretty lethal power play. That could be a big storyline as we head into Game 1 tomorrow night.
Man, I thought like StatMuse, you're supposed to just type in whatever and then it would come up. I'm trying to just find the penalty kill percent for the league.
For the league?
Or just everyone in the playoffs, I guess.
So Oilers have 37.5% right now, which is pretty good too.
No, I don't want to know that the Ottawa Senators have the best penalty kill percentage by a team in the playoffs.
Playoff penalty
games.
kill rankings, 91.4%. Oh, you're looking for the whole league though.
Here we go. Oh, Oilers have the best penalty kill too, 91.4.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. So
Yeah,
maybe they're the playoff or special teams merchants that Zane's talking about. Obviously, he just hates the Rangers, so he's trying to get any digs in that he can. He's rooting for the Panthers.
Power play and best penalty kill.
That's a good combination.
Yeah,
I do
crazy.
think people are still taking the Stars in this series, because I think they're just a deeper team compared to Edmonton, which has kind of been the story for the past handful of years, is that, the bottom six has not produced as well for the Oilers. I think it's been a little bit better this playoffs, which could be reassuring. But this is going to be the true test, in my opinion. Vancouver was a tough one. I don't know if you still had anything to say about the Avalanche Dallas series.
Well, you're going to say, even though Dallas has a terrible penalty kill, you could argue that they're a 5-on-5 team. So if they made it, because the top 3 teams' highest penalty kill are the teams that are still in the playoffs, and then you have to go 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th out of the 16 teams that were in the playoffs to get to Dallas. So it's maybe they're just good enough at 5-on-5 where it doesn't matter. I mean, their power play is still good. They have the 4th best power play. So.
And ideally, you're playing at 5-on-5 a majority of the time, or 5-on-4, of course.
Yeah, that's all I got on that series.
I think we were both rooting for Dallas, so we got that one. You were pushing for the Rangers as well?
Yeah, I don't want to. I'm done with Florida.
Yeah. So, we move on to the Pacific matchup. Oilers and Canucks goes the distance, and the Oilers come out on top. They made it it was, the final score was 3-2, but it was not close for at least the first 50, 55-ish minutes. It was 2 shots to 13 or something after the first, and 23 to 6 or 7 after the second period. It was not good. And Vancouver was playing at home as well. You get goals. I think you got 2 goals from Bouchard, maybe, or at least one, and maybe a deflection off of his shot from another.
No Bouchard goals.
No Bouchard
he
goals?
He got 2 primary assists.
Oh, okay, they must have been.
One was the Hyman, so that could have been a deflection.
Yeah, maybe. I think it was the Hyman one, or maybe he set him up. But yeah, Cody Ceci as well. Yeah, so all the defensemen getting involved.
Did you hear So I remember, I forget what run it was that I guess the Sens run where they made it to the conference finals, or maybe it was just the first 2 rounds. No, it wasn't the conference finals when they lost to the Penguins in Game 7. Carlson had 20 points or whatever, and everyone's wow, I forget if he was the runner-up or ended up winning. I think he got votes for the Conn Smythe because of it, and everyone was talking about how crazy, he was just crazy on fire that whole run. And then Bouchard is after 2 rounds has 20 or whatever points. I guess I can see. Well, yeah, I guess he has 15 assists. And I don't know how many goals he has, but he's just been lighting it up, which is crazy. I don't know what historical data we could pull up to compare to, but the amount of points he has in the playoffs for a defenseman is
gotta be pretty
unheard
good.
of in this era.
Yeah, I don't know what Makar in 2022 might be or something like that, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were pretty similar. Maybe Makar has a couple more goals and a couple less assists, but yeah, they've been getting contributions from places that they maybe weren't at the beginning of the regular season, and even towards the end, still relying on their big guys. But good step for them. I think it should be an entertaining series. I don't know. I feel like I still have Dallas, but I would kind of be okay with the Oilers moving on too. I had them in my final in both of my brackets. So, and I think Dallas has has a bigger window than the Oilers do right now. This might be one of the Oilers' best chances. I think Dallas is still young enough and has still so many strong prospects that they're going to be okay for a while.
Yeah, I'm kind of conflicted because I like both teams. Like, I want to see McDavid and Draisaitl win the cup. Like, I've been rooting for them normally, but like obviously I like Dallas too. So like, I won't really be too hurt no matter who wins.
Yeah.
Like, we'll see. Like, I might flip back and forth on who I'm rooting for this series. Like, it's that close. And then on the East, like, well, I hate both those teams. Typically, how it goes. Like, the West, I'm like, I don't really care who wins, and on the East, I'm like, well, I don't want to root for the Panthers. I don't like the Rangers because of rivalry. So like, seems to be the way it goes. And also, I did find this. So, Bouchard has 20 points through 12 games in the playoffs. This makes the 24-year-old Ontario native the first defenseman in NHL history to score 20 points through the first 2 rounds of the playoffs.
Wow. That's big.
I was right. Historic.
That is historic. Good on you. Good eye.
Yeah.
Wow. So we'll see if that culminates in a deeper run or if they lose in spite of his efforts. I think both of these series are fascinating. I think they're like good matchups as far as like what the league would ideally want. Like, I think these are entertaining matchups as far as like just viewers that maybe aren't as big into hockey, or even regular hockey fans. Like, I do think that there are good storylines here and just good matchups. So I'm looking forward to it.
And I did find the stats I was looking for. NHL
Alright.
defenseman, most points in a single playoff season. I don't think Bouchard's going to catch number 1. Paul Coffey has 37. But technically he's on pace. 2 rounds, 20. That equals 40 if you win the cup,
yeah,
right?
right.
Cale Makar is in 4th with 29 in the 21-22 season. Miro Heiskanen in the 19-20 season at 26.
Oh,
Brent
okay.
Burns in the 15-16 season at 24. Adam Fox had 23 in the 21-22 season. Where is Eric Carlson? Thought it would be
And they didn't even make the finals in that year. So that's pretty impressive. That's pretty good.
Okay, yeah, Eric Carlson had in the 16-17 year he had 18.
In the and they went to the conference finals as well.
Yeah, I wish it said how many.
Game 7, so as you know, it's pretty much as good as you can get. But
Yeah.
although not all, I guess technically it could have been 21 games played,
Sure.
but it wasn't.
Yeah. But either way, impressive
Yeah, a good run for sure.
for Bouchard.
Any closing thoughts on the Canucks Oilers series? Like, what the deal is with the Canucks, and
It'll
that
be
was a tough
interesting
one.
seeing what she loves, what happens with him going forward. I mean, the loss definitely wasn't his fault. He played great the whole time.
No,
So
definitely not his
we'll
fault.
see if he stays in Vancouver, if other teams are looking at him now, or what. I mean, similar to the whole Aiden Hill thing with Vegas, like a goalie putting on a show in the playoffs, or like an unproven goalie, I guess I should say.
Right. He did have that bronze medal run with Latvia in the World Juniors. The other, I think it was just last year. So that sort of put him on the radar a little bit, and then yeah, he'd been playing in Abbotsford. I don't know, like, I feel like maybe they'll just keep him in the AHL for now. Maybe like him and DeSmith will sort of go back and forth with the backup role. I don't know. I don't know if he's still under contract for next season or what. But yeah, that was a good story nonetheless. Tough for Vancouver fans, obviously, but they probably weren't expecting to be here in like a similar situation to the Bruins, where it's like, yeah, maybe we were a little bit ahead of schedule, but you felt good. I mean, they kept finding ways to like barely clutch out these close games. They had a big win in Game 5. They had that obviously late game-winning goal in the Nashville series that clinched it, which was pretty clutch. So they had some good un-Vancouver-like moments, I guess, where normally it's like they kind of blow it, but I wouldn't really say that was like that.
they had a lot of games where those comeback wins, and again you mentioned with Edmonton, the final game where they tried to turn it on at the last minute. They got 2 goals, they got close, but you can't just start trying in the last 10 minutes and
No.
expect to win. It worked a couple times, but
Yeah.
it's not going to work every time.
Not every time, yeah.
That is very Vancouver of them to give their fans hope like that. So.
Absolutely, yeah.
Before I close this NHL defenseman page with stats, do you want to guess 2 different things? Which active defenseman holds the record for most points in a single playoff game, and who has the most playoff points in their career, both among active players? They're 2 different people.
Well, I feel like Makar at 29 has to be pretty close to the top. Didn't you say it was 4th overall?
Well, that was in a single playoff. He had 29 in a single playoff run.
Oh, I thought that's one of the questions that you would ask.
No, it's all time. So they're in their career, how many points they've gotten in the playoffs.
Oh, okay.
And again, we're just talking active, and then the other one is in a single playoff game.
Oh, game. Okay, I got
So a
you.
single playoff game, and then in their career in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about
Who's been in the playoffs a lot?
playoffs a lot. Has been in the league for a while and is good, and is still kicking. I mean, Luke. I don't know. Maybe it's crazy to think Luke Shen could be, with how many deep runs he's been on, but I'm also thinking a lightning defenseman or something like that, like Victor Hedman maybe. I don't know if he's old enough though. Giordano hasn't really been in a ton of playoff deep runs. I don't know. I guess I'll go with Hedman.
That is correct. 117 points. Behind him, Chris Letang with 90.
That adds up.
And then who do you think has the most in one game?
I feel like this has to be more. Could it be more recent? I'm not sure. I could see.
Scoring has been up lately, it seems.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know
So
if
this person
Makar
has
would have
5 in one game, and then there's a ton of people tied with 4.
I was thinking 5 was the number in my head. I'm trying to envision if I remember seeing a graphic or anything that's 5 points in one game.
Jara got 4 points in the game, a 4-3 win over Toronto, 2013.
Wow. So he factored in on all 4 of those goals.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. I'll go with Bouchard.
No, but he also got 4 exactly a month ago today against the Kings when Edmonton put up 7. So not a bad guess. The correct answer is Cale Makar.
Damn it! I almost said Cale
Obvious
Makar
one,
too.
right?
I was like, should I just say Cale? I'm it seems pretty obvious, that he would have.
June 6th, 2022, Colorado at Edmonton, 6-5 victory.
Wow.
He played 29 minutes.
29 minutes. Damn.
All right, I'll close that page now. And we can.
Well, that was fun.
That's all the
That's all of them.
series. Then we can. I guess we already kind of previewed Rangers, Panthers. So you want to talk? I guess we kind of already previewed this too. But any other thoughts on the series starting tomorrow?
Well, if I had to make a prediction, I think I would go with Dallas moving on. Which it won't surprise me if the Oilers move on, and I feel like that's who I'm leaning towards rooting for over Dallas. Just because I do think Dallas has more deep runs in them, just based on the team and the future there. So I think I'd be more inclined to root for Edmonton because they might not be able to do this again. But I do think Dallas is the stronger, deeper team, and the goalie situation is probably still in their favor. I do know Ottinger was had some sort of illness, but he is expected to play tomorrow. But yeah, Pickard got in a couple games, but it was mostly Stuart Skinner. He was the one who played in Game 6 or Game 7 and got the win. But I didn't really get blown away by anything that Skinner did in that game, but he was good enough. I don't know. They have 80 something still save percentage through the playoffs. Pickard is not a ton better.
Jack Campbell in.
There you go. It's like, you know what?
Couldn't you see the
Really
narrative now where it's like he was in the AHL all year, they put him up and he just lights it up?
Like, this is what you've been training for, Jack. One last comeback.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I feel like people forget that this year Edmonton was terrible for that long stretch, and then they just turned it on. And it's like, well, who knows what's going to happen in the playoffs if they even get there?
Right.
Like, they fired their coach early, then they had that crazy run, that win streak.
He has 14 games or
are they going to make it to the playoffs? And then if they do, it's are we going to see early Edmonton, late season Edmonton? And I mean, they've been playing well, and yeah, the goaltending is really the biggest question. I think I'll also pick Dallas, but I'm kind of happy with either. Like I said.
Yeah, I feel like the Dallas superstars are going to be able to expose Skinner or Pickard if he ends up coming back into the net. I do think Pickard is the better option, to be honest. I do think his numbers are a little bit better. Obviously, he's played in a lot less games. But I don't know. I just feel like even though Skinner is supposed to be your number one guy, I think they should go with Pickard. But I don't know. That's probably not what they're going to do at this point. We'll see if Knobloch changes anything. This is his first year in the playoffs versus Pete DeBoer, who's still perfect in Game 7s, and he's gone on multiple Stanley Cup final runs. He hasn't won one yet, but obviously a lot more experience behind the bench than Chris. So that could be a big factor.
And did you also see with the Western Conference Final that they're going to have this data cast?
Yeah, I did see something about that. So I didn't know if they were already, if that was going on during round 2 or not, because I hadn't seen it yet.
No, it's just starting the Western Conference Final. It'll be the entire thing. So every game, I guess starting tomorrow for the Dallas-Edmonton series, it's an alternative, cast, I guess, with just more. It's for folks that are into numbers, apparently. So just extra stats. I think it's driven by Amazon, because I know they've done that with. I remember seeing the face-off probabilities before the puck drops. Sometimes I think that was Amazon or whatever. But I mean, I'll check it out.
Might be neat. I don't know if I'll watch the whole thing, but I'll definitely look at it and see sort of what's it involved with it. And I'm sure the statisticians are going to be all over that. We'll see how well they actually do. This is something they haven't tried before, but it's fun to see them experimenting, especially at this time of year.
The other thing I noticed with the broadcast, I don't know if you did, but I don't know if it's just ESPN or any of them. I guess they're all kind of the same. But during the power play, they would put the names over the player that has the puck, on the power play. So it's just basically an overlay or whatever. So it's like a video game where
right.
Have their name.
Player
but they only did it
one.
on the power play, which I guess makes sense because it's more possession based. But I'm maybe they're testing this and we'll have it just for all the time. And it was pretty accurate. Anytime the puck was on someone's stick, their name popped up, and then when they passed it, it went away. Even in against the boards, I'm this technology is pretty good. I don't know how it works or anything, but I like that. I wouldn't mind just seeing a player's name over their head when they have the puck. I mean, that can be super helpful for learning players on other teams or even your own team if you're not watching every game.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. It's like when they have the clock on the ice for the power play too. The penalty clock. I do like that.
Yeah, I'm I don't have to avert my eyes to the corner of my screen. I can just keep watching the play. How convenient.
Yeah, so it's just nice to have those quality of life things that maybe you didn't think that you wanted it until they introduce it, sort of thing.
Like the first down line in football.
Yeah, that
Like
is
it's
a
like,
game
it's like I
changer
can
for
just
sure.
look. I can just see it on the sideline. I can see where the marker is. Like, but how about a line across the whole field?
That, yeah. When you go to a game in person and you're like, wait a minute, where's the yellow line? Like,
Yeah.
I can't see what's going on.
Yeah. And I
I
mean,
did
again,
I
similar
did
to
see
like
that.
the power play thing on the ice where like they have the like 2nd and 7 or whatever. It's like it's on the scoreboard too, but it's like it's right there, you know?
Yeah. No, it's convenient for sure. I was gonna say, the NHL is apparently toying with doing like some sort of electronic measurement for the first downs, like with the ball placement and things like that, instead of strictly using the ball and chain method, or not ball, stick and chain method. So
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how they're like piloting it in the preseason. I hope that it works, because I do think like that method is like really archaic. And
And soccer has had this forever with the goals. Like there was like they like project basically this whole like line from the goal line up, and you can see if the full ball crosses. And like I think they do something with offside too, with like technology. I mean, there's still the ref that calls it on or offside, but then they can like look back at it or something. I don't know.
yeah,
I'm not much of a soccer fan, as you can clearly tell, but um, like I've always wondered why they don't do that with the NHL. With, I mean, first off, the goal. Like, why we have the cameras? Why don't you just like use technology to see if it passes?
I know.
I mean, you could argue to do that with offside as well, but it's like I don't know. I feel like there's some people that prefer a subjective ruling on some things. Like baseball has the technology; they've had it to like the strike zone. It's like you can call a strike
That's what I was gonna
digitally. You
bring
don't
up.
need an umpire. Like same with like if you're safe or not on the base. But like part of it is the umpire and like the refereeing and all that.
Yeah,
I mean, offside shouldn't be subjective. So it's like if you could just have it automated, where if it's offside, it's offside. The play's blown dead, or like like the goal horn like a noise happens. Like then you get rid of the. Then instead of the 2 linesmen, you have 4 referees, and then you can miss less calls. There you go.
not bad. Not a bad idea.
Get me a meeting with Gary.
Yeah, call Mr. Bettman up. I do think, like, don't they, and they have the blue line cameras too, which I feel like sometimes they don't they don't let the broadcast see those angles for whatever
Which
reason,
is dumb. Yeah.
which is dumb. So yeah, I feel like there's got to be a way where, yeah, you could determine it digitally, electronically, whatever, and then it would just eliminate that as an issue, even if it's like, maybe you could, if you're like a type of person that doesn't trust computers or whatever, you're like, wow, this is bullshit. It's like, oh, it was like a fraction, offsides. It's like, maybe that could be contentious in the future, and maybe that's why they've been apprehensive to do that.
You're already doing that though with like you're looking for the tiniest bit of white.
Yeah,
and
you're just
you're
blaming
like,
a human instead of blaming the
Right.
computer, which is
I
like,
mean, yeah, it would
these are
have to
people.
be like super dialed in. Like they have to do so much rigorous testing and like make sure there's no issues. Because if you have a play that's onside and it gets blown dead before like a 2-on-0 or whatever, it gets blown dead, and then they look back and like, oh, that was actually onside.
Not
Like,
gonna be good.
no.
Yeah, you
So-
certainly don't want that.
But like, you would think that a computer would be more accurate than a human, just the way it is.
I would think so, yeah.
I don't know.
But not everybody, yeah, again, not everybody's like all hip with computers, especially when it comes to sports. But
Yeah.
whatever, we'll see if that's something that they explore down the road. We do have some more playoff news in the PWHL. The finals have been set. The final matchup. I think Boston had already moved on last time, but Minnesota does complete the reverse sweep against Toronto, which was pretty fun. And they do that in Toronto as well. They get the trip to the finals, where it's already 1-1. Boston won the first game 4-3, and then Minnesota won game 2 with a 3-0 shutout. So now they're heading back into Minnesota.
And so the other series were best of 3, and this one's best of 5, correct?
I thought this one was best of 3 as well, but maybe it isn't.
Well, there's 5 games scheduled.
5 games scheduled, okay. I didn't know if they were already
They play
scheduled.
Friday, and also, why can't NHL take a page out of the PWHL book, and they already have all the games scheduled, not a to be determined. Like, game 5 is scheduled May 29th, 7 p.m. Eastern. It's like, it might not happen, but it's scheduled.
Yeah.
Like, why do I have to be like so wishy-washy about whether it's like what time I get that the NHL, like, what they're doing. For example, they're waiting to see if another team will have a game that night, so they can kind of work the times. Versus if it's just one game, they'll make it more like prime time. But I don't know. I hate not knowing when the next game will be.
It is difficult for sure. So it does look like, it is first to 3. So all the series were like that. They were all first to 3 wins.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I thought some were best of 3.
No.
Okay.
No, because Boston won 3-0 and Minnesota won 3-2.
All right.
So anyways, that's going on. Game 1 was pretty entertaining. I wasn't able to catch the whole thing, but that was a good one. 4-3, obviously, so tight game. And then I feel like the goalies have just been big stories in this whole playoff year for the PWHL so far. They've been so many shutouts. Games 1 through 4 in the Toronto Minnesota series were all shutouts by one of the teams until Game 5 when that was broken, and then Minnesota gets another shutout at Game 2 of the finals. Anyways. I know Boston had some shutouts as well. Or did they? No, actually, they didn't have any shutouts. But they had some close ones. A couple 1-goal games. So, I think we're both pushing for Boston, but I'm hoping just for a good series, and then we'll see who gets crowned the inaugural Walter Cup champions. They do have the jersey patches with the Walter Cup on them, which is nice. I do like that. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do what I do with the NHL and get like a jersey for the winning team. I feel like probably not, but we'll see. I don't know yet.
You did already get a PWHL jersey, right?
Yes, it is in the background now for our Spotify listeners. I do have a PWHL New York jersey, which they didn't have the adult size that I think I probably would have wanted. They were out of adult small and adult medium, so I had to go with the youth extra large, which somebody had mentioned on like the PWHL subreddit that they wear size 46 or small in Adidas, and like they've worn Youth XL, and it's like fine. It's a little tight around like my torso, I guess, but the arm length is good, so it's not like super uncomfortable or anything like that. I was like apprehensive to buy one online until I had tried one on, because I just wasn't sure, and I was getting kind of conflicting things with the jersey sizing charts that I saw online, but I think it worked out. So I'm glad that I ended up getting an inaugural jersey, and so I'll probably get all the New York ones going from here. Although I didn't get the away one, but I don't even know if they were selling those, to be honest. Maybe they were. They had problems with with stocking merchandise this year, which probably wasn't a problem they were anticipating, because it's like inaugural year, you never really know how well this is going to go and how much merchandise they're going to have to produce. So,
Good problem to have, though.
good problem, yeah. Looking
I didn't
forward
expect to
to
sell
next
out
year.
like NHL arenas either.
Probably not, but that's definitely a positive thing as far as the league going forward. And yeah, next year we should be seeing individual team branding and all that, so that'll be a big boost too. But yeah, I think there's been a lot of positives this first year, which going into it, like back in fall of in beginning of winter last year, I was definitely unsure how things were gonna go with the no branding, and there were some stuff like things that weren't ironed out right away that I was like, I don't know. But I think when they announced watching the games on YouTube in the USA, that was like a big boost, and so I'm happy for them for sure, and for me for getting to see a good product.
There you go, yeah. Getting to
Win-win.
just watch for free is pretty nice.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that's what we got for PWHL playoffs and just playoffs in general. ECHL is still going on. Thunder are playing right now, I believe. I don't think they're doing too well in Game 3. They are series is tied 1 apiece. Let's see. Yeah, 3-0 heading into the third, it looks like. So that's going to be a tough one. Florida's won the last 2 Kelly Cups, so I'm just hoping that they make it close and maybe they get to play Game 6 back here. I would like to get to see one more game before the end of the season. We'll see if they get there. But, yeah, hopefully they do well. It's been a fun run either way, and we'll see if Bree and I end up doing something like partial season tickets next year or what, because it is pretty convenient for us, and I would like to go to see more games.
Yeah, that'd be fun. How far is it?
It's like a 10-15 minute drive.
Gotta.
It's pretty nice compared to Gifford is like almost an hour each time. So I'm glad that he's been able to come to a handful of games with us, but I don't think he would go for the season tickets. That's a little bit too out of his reach.
Yeah, probably.
But for playoff games and stuff, yeah. You gotta make it out for the playoffs. I don't think I'll go to any playoff games other than this league at this point. Like, I don't see myself going to Boston, which would only be Game 5. Well, it's not in Boston. It's at the Songus Center, which is UMass Lowell. So that's like a 5-hour or 4-hour trip for me. It's like, that's kind of a lot.
Yeah.
And Rangers tickets would be like, $900 probably at this point. Probably be cheaper to fly to Florida and watch
I
a
was
game
gonna
there.
say, yeah, Florida's normally cheaper.
I think we do have some direct flights to Fort Lauderdale that are like not too bad. That would be pretty fun though. 3 p.m. game, fly down there, and then you fly back the next day. Don't take any days off work.
There you go, hang out at the beach.
Yeah. It's probably just as hot down there as it is here.
Probably.
It is brutal.
Do you want to talk about some awards?
Yeah. I think there were a couple of other awards that I didn't put on here that have been maybe taken care of, but
I don't think so, because I just went to records.nhl.com and they have each award, and I just went through all of them, even the ones I hadn't heard of, and the only 23, 24 ones that we hadn't talked about were these 2.
okay, good.
You're welcome.
Thanks, team. So, Sasha Barkov wins the Selke Trophy.
No surprise there.
No, I don't think so. I do believe that was the front runner that we had when we were breaking it down. in that episode. So good for him. Obviously, no Bergeron this year to take away votes because he was guaranteed to do that pretty much every year. I'd say well deserved for sure.
Yeah, I don't have much to say on it. Like I said, he's great. He's the only player on Florida that I don't hate. I respect his game.
Yeah,
He's a 200-foot player. All I got.
that's pretty good. And Rick Tocchet wins the Jack Adams Award for best head coach. So I don't know if that's really a big surprise either. After the playoff run that Vancouver had and just the regular season that was unexpected for sure.
Yeah. I forget what we talked about, but I think it was him, Rick Bowness, and then
Burnett probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much just like
Burnett.
the comeback.
Finished second.
It's like the comeback team or whatever, or like the emerging teams that weren't expected to do this well, most improved or whatever, that usually get the award.
Mm-hmm. And I think Vancouver fits that bill. Winnipeg as well, and Nashville. Obviously, all three of them fit that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the right pick with Rick Tocchet.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty promising, like, towards the end of last year when they hired him. Like, a lot of Vancouver fans are like, wow, they're actually, like, playing pretty well. But it was, they were too far gone at that point to do enough to make it in. But I don't know if everyone was like, yeah, they're definitely going to win the Pacific this year. I think some of the more optimistic fans were not even probably all the way there. So
I hope we make the playoffs.
Yeah, that's really what it was. It's just like, can we please get back to the playoffs? Like, they've just, over the last, decade or so, have not been able to have consistent back-to-back playoff runs, and so that's been sorely lacking. There you go.
You want to cover some other news around the league real quick? So we can start with Zach Parise retires.
He had one more go around.
He wasn't even sure if he was going to come back this year, and then decided to sign with the Avs. Had a good playoff run. I don't know how much ice time he actually got or how much of an impact he had for them, but I mean, I know he played, so couldn't end with a cup, but oh well.
Yeah, you don't always get the storybook ending for these guys, which is a bummer. He had a long career, but just wasn't able to get over the hump. He had
most of it was wasted in Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota eats up a lot of that. He did have some deeper playoff runs with the Islanders, and I don't know if he had any with the Devils, but good career. I think it's probably the right move. Like, I don't think the Avalanche were looking to bring him back probably. So at like 39, you kind of have to know when enough is enough, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But good run for him. It was nice to see him at least push for one more year, and best of luck in retirement, of course. There'll be other retirements to come, I'm sure. I think there have been a couple others that have been announced that we haven't mentioned on the podcast, but yeah, it's gonna happen every year. Not always some really big names, but
Yep. And we got Ryan McDonagh going back to Tampa.
yeah, weird.
That's why you chose this jersey today?
Yes, I happen to have a Tampa Bay Ryan McDonagh jersey. This is their Reverse Retro 1.0. I was like, wait a minute. I actually have something I can wear that's like perfect for this. So that was fun. I was like, oh my gosh. definitely out of the blue. There was like no insider reporting on this until it broke. But yeah, basically the story was McDonagh, after the season ended, was like, if you can find a way to get me to Tampa, like, I'd appreciate that. His family plans on retiring there or living there once he's done. And he had such great moments, great runs with the Lightning. He was on, I think, both of the cup teams. So they accommodate him the full package. I think it was a second and a seventh for Nashville. Let me see. Yeah, a second in 2025 and a seventh this year for McDonagh, and a 4th round pick from Edmonton in this year's draft. So and Tampa Bay acquires the whole salary, which we'll see how that the implications are as far as like re-signing Stamkos and other guys this year. I did see a funny comment as well that the Lightning were just giving up more picks in that Jeannot trade, like trying to fill the whole tree, because they gave up like a second, a third, a fourth, and a fifth or whatever in that one. So it's like, yeah, we'll give you guys a 7th as well, and another second. Why not? I don't know. How do you feel about it? It was kind of out of the blue.
I mean, I guess it's a nice story because it wasn't like a hockey trade, right? It was more of a personal trade. It's like, you've done a lot for this franchise. Like, we're gonna help you out and get you back here because, again, like, your family's here. You have like a house here, I presume, and that sort of thing. So
Yeah, doing right by the
seemed like
player.
a nice thing to do. And like, yeah, I mean, he's still serviceable.
Yeah, I think, and Predators still get some value out of him, which is nice. Not anything crazy, but now that just increases the amount of cap space that they'll have going into the off season. Of course, there were immediately rumors circling about Marner going there, and people creating all these trade scenarios, which
There are rumors about Draisaitl. He wants to go to Boston.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I didn't just say that. There were people talking about it, and someone on Reddit proposed that we would give up Patra, Lorai, like a first and a second. And it was like crazy how many people, Bruins fans, were like, what, an overpayment? And I'm like, no, like, you're getting like one of the best centers in the league.
Yeah, it's like, I know you want to keep all your really good prospects, but it's like, there's no way you're going to be able to keep all of them and acquire a player of this caliber. Like, I
We want the player, but we don't want to
it,
give anything up.
I know, and that's what everyone's like, oh, well, we can give him this, like, third-rate prospect, throw in, like, a random roster player or two, and it's like, never equating to the same value. But
This was a month ago.
funny.
Someone on Reddit said pasta for Draisaitl, who would benefit more. And someone commented that, like, the one thing you don't know is how well Draisaitl would play if he didn't have McDavid with him. But I know, like, they're normally on separate lines, right? Because they're both centers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. There's definitely some tough hypotheticals. Like, Draisaitl for Swayman and McAvoy is like I think neither team would, like, Bruins wouldn't like it.
It's kind of
probably, and,
weird.
like, Edmonton would like it. Yeah, getting a forward, giving up a defender and a goalie. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not a GM.
Me either. But yeah, I think we'll obviously know more once the playoffs wrap up and the Oilers run is done. But the McDonagh trade was interesting.
Yeah. If I were a GM, I might look into signing Andre Kasha.
Ooh, former Boston Bruin.
Yeah, he played like 20 games with us or something. Maybe less. I don't know. Because yeah, he's been obviously battling like neurological issues. He's had multiple concussions. But he's playing in Worlds right now. He has 2 goals and 3 assists in the preliminary round. And then before that, he was playing for HC Litvinov. That's definitely how you say it. 23
Mm-hmm.
goals and 31 assists in 48 games. Like he's been playing. He wants to obviously. He wouldn't want to come back to the NHL. So, I mean, he showed promise when he played. I think he's probably around 30 now, but he's a
Yeah.
skilled winger. So, I mean, even if obviously if he didn't come back as a Bruin, I'd still root for him just because like you gotta root for a story like that.
Yeah.
So even when we went to Toronto, I'm hoping for the best for him, just based off like his history and forget how many games he played for Toronto, but it didn't last long either. And then he went to Carolina, played only 1 game, and that was currently the end of his NHL career, but hopefully not the very end.
Which that was that 22, 23?
Maybe even a year before that.
Hmm.
20. Yeah, no, you're right. 22, 23.
Okay.
$1.5 million contract. So if nothing else, he's probably okay with money.
Right. He's
Million.
yeah, I think he's like probably 31 or something like that. But it would be good. There were definitely flashes when he was with Anaheim and briefly with Boston that you're like, okay, this guy's not gonna like blow you out of the water, but he's got some skill. He's got some speed. I just mixed those two together.
Spill.
He got some spill. That's
Yeah, he's 28.
That's a good.
He's
way.
earned
Oh,
$12 million. So good for him.
More than I've earned, I can tell you that for damn sure. I am rooting for him to make a return too. I think it would be fun to see him in Boston, kind of like similar to what Heinen did this year with his PTO. I think a lot of Boston fans would want to see him return, myself included. Not to take anything away from Kasha's discussion there, but I think we were pretty much wrapped up.
Mm-hmm.
We also had a couple of coaching changes finally announced. So Craig Berube, now the coach of the Maple Leafs officially, and then Keefe is reported to be hired by the Devils, likely announced officially tomorrow. So couple Leafs new goalies and former goalies, or not goalies, head coaches. Oh my God, I'm all over the place tonight.
What day you're having?
Yeah, I am. I'm struggling. Must be the heat.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
I mean,
big
I know
news.
like we can start with, I guess, Heath. We talked, I think, last week about whether he'd take a break or just hop right back in. And I guess that answers our question. He's ready to do some more coaching.
No break.
Smaller market, which again is like they're all smaller markets in Toronto. So, should be interesting. I mean, I said it before. I think he's a good coach. Maybe maybe you could argue like he lost a room in Toronto, or they just weren't receptive to that kind of coaching, or like again like after years, it's like
Something's got to
voice.
change. Something's
Yeah.
got to give. Yeah.
I think like Chandler's gonna be happy with this and have a good year for the Devils next year. I expect a playoff run next year. Like I don't see them missing the playoffs again, but I don't know. I thought everyone they weren't like favorites this year, but like a lot of people were like they're having a deep playoff run this year, and that clearly didn't happen. So who knows?
Yeah, I mean, like those Leafs teams under Keefe have always had good regular seasons, with 100+ points for most of those years. So it's like, how much of it was just Toronto being cursed or in their own head sort of thing, and how much of it was on Keefe. Now we'll get to sort of know a little bit more, unlock more pieces of the puzzle. I think they signed him to a 4-year deal, so they broke the 2-year contract extension, or they replaced it with a more money in a 4-year deal, so he's probably doing pretty well for himself.
Yeah, so the way that works is basically like if the Devils were going to pay less than whatever his new contract was, then Toronto would pay the extra to get to whatever value they like owed him.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, so like if his contract, let's say, was $2.5 million a year, I have no idea, and the Devils paid him $2 million, then Toronto would have to pay $500,000 for a year for the 2 years. But sounds like the Devils paid more in a longer term, so Toronto's off the hook.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah. And then Berube got hired by the Leafs, and it's kind of, I think, also what we talked about, where probably going to go from more of a player's coach to like a tougher coach, and Berube definitely fits that bill. So we'll see. I think the way his coaching style is, we saw it when he first became the head coach of the Blues. Like, it kind of really kickstarted that team. Obviously, they won the cup that year.
Yeah.
So I expect to see like a good start to the year for Toronto. And if my dreams were to come true, they'd have like President's Trophy season, and then right around the time of the first round is when the coaching would start to get a little stale, and then first round exit again.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. He had a pretty inspiring, I guess, or like reassuring press conference with the other members of the organization, Tree Living and Shanahan and Keith Pelly there. So that was good. I watched the Steve Dangle video on that, and there were some good things coming out of that as far as how he handles players and accountability, and just the way that they're gonna they're not gonna really be concerned with any other season other than this upcoming season. Like, it doesn't have anything to do with this team anymore, which is the mindset that these Leafs absolutely need to have if they're gonna finally like break through here, because they just can't dwell on those other teams anymore. It's gonna drive them crazy. So, saying all the right things, we'll see if Tree Living can put a halfway decent team around him, and we will go from there.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a good move by the Leafs, though. Which, too bad.
I think so. In other news, you have won the Pass the Cup for this year. Our
Money,
challenge.
baby.
We had that 3-way tie between me, you, and Gifford. So our tiebreaker was the playoff bracket. And you have the Rangers winning it, right?
Rangers over Oilers. Yep.
Yeah. So I had Toronto winning it, so my bracket was busted pretty quick.
And Gifford at Vegas.
Yep. So congratulations.
Thank you.
I think we already discussed the hat trick challenge last week or the week before. That's been done for a while.
I think so, yeah. So we still have to determine who gets the extra $20 for the picking the team who has the eventual cup winner.
Right, that's who I should be rooting for to get my money back.
Yeah, so you should be rooting for...
Do I have anyone left, or was it... It might have been the Avs.
No, I don't think you have anyone. I think I have Florida, Gifford has Dallas, and Owen has Edmonton and the Rangers, I believe. So, he's got the best.
Yeah, I had Colorado.
chance.
That's who I was rooting for. For this.
So I guess I'm rooting for Florida so I can get my $20, but I
you
think
won. You don't need anything else.
yeah. Well, I guess not. But
Yeah, Edmonton.
does feel
New
good
York,
to finally
that's
win.
pretty good. Tough that Edmonton got 0-0 this year, and the Rangers only got him 1.
That's
But
crazy. I
he
know.
can still get his money back.
Yeah, it is. It is funny looking at it. It's just like that's how it worked out. Like even these really strong teams, it just didn't get the cup at the right time, and so they didn't get the same value as like Arizona and all these other teams.
Toronto got 0. Tampa got 0. Yeah, tough.
Ottawa got 0. That's crazy.
Yeah.
The Islanders got 0 too. I had a weird team. Carolina did well for me, and then like I just had like decent depth with Arizona, and then St. Louis getting me 1, Winnipeg getting me a couple points, Florida getting me 3. Not as lopsided as like Gifford's, although his was weird too, because he had Columbus and Buffalo in that meaty part of the draft, and then it was Nashville and Pittsburgh that ended up doing it for him. Obviously, we've talked about the whole picking up Pittsburgh off waivers, and that's why Dean didn't want Gifford to win, because he could have picked up Pittsburgh and didn't.
I did pick him up, and I'm like, wait, I'm not going to be able to know if they won that game tonight until
Oh, you
after
dropped
midnight. I was like busy. I picked him up and then dropped him, and then he picked him up. Yep. So what's going on with Worlds, Brendan?
The group stages are set. I was looking at them earlier, and I do not have them pulled up, but I will do that now. I believe... Oh, come on.
US beat Latvia yesterday, 6-3. Which didn't that end like Latvia had like some really good run or something?
Yeah,
Or
they
like
were doing pretty well. Where is the... Come on. Oh, here we go. I think these are the...
oh yeah, Latvia lost their chance to qualify for the quarterfinals by losing to Team USA.
I think Great Britain was relegated for being last in their group. I don't know why I can't find the standings very easily.
Yeah, I was trying to find it too. I can find all the games and all the scores.
Oh, here we go. Okay, this is on Wikipedia of all places. Well, it's linked to another page, I guess. Oh, never mind. Anyways, in Group A, Canada leads the way. Then it's Switzerland, home country Czechia, and Finland, with Austria, Norway, Denmark, and Great Britain not advancing, and Great Britain getting relegated to 2025 Division 1A. And then in Group B, we have Sweden, United States, Germany, and Slovakia. So, United States, after having kind of a slower start, they do pull it together. They go 5-0-1, 5-0-1-1, excuse me. And then Latvia, Kazakhstan, France, and Poland do not advance, and Poland gets relegated. So we'll see. I don't know when the tournament actually starts. Looks like it starts tomorrow. With Canada versus Slovakia, Sweden versus Finland, Switzerland versus Germany, and United States versus Czechia.
So there's 8 teams left, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I see now.
I feel like all of these are pretty interesting matchups. Sweden and Finland, I feel like they've had some good battles before. Czechia didn't play the United States in the World Juniors, I don't think, but I mean that's a different age group, anyways.
And Team USA is playing at 8 p.m. tomorrow night, my time, 10 p.m. yours. So.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I assume this is my time. I don't know. Okay, here, open this link and tell me what time it says.
Wouldn't be 10 p.m. in Europe, would it?
Well, it says 8:20, so I don't know.
Oh yeah, okay.
It might be 8:20, and it might be Europe.
I got 8:20 as well.
Okay, so it's probably in the morning.
Well, Oh, yeah, no, never mind. Sorry.
It's in Prague, right? So
Yeah, it is. I was thinking it had it in military time, and I was thinking that I messed up the conversion for a second, but I did not. I was like, wait a minute. Sorry, I know most of the world uses 24-hour clock, but I just never gotten around to using it, and it's not like it's remotely difficult or anything, but
they're 8 hours ahead of here, so it'll be noon my time, 2 p.m. your time.
oh, okay. Well, that's. I mean, I probably won't be able to watch that. Maybe, I don't know. I am working from home tomorrow, so.
That is the world's update.
Yeah. I can't tell you anything about how the teams are playing because I honestly I don't know.
We got other playoff hockey to watch.
Yeah, I know. But figured to throw a quick little PSA or update for you on how
Plus,
that's
you're
going.
also watching PWHL, so lots to juggle.
Yeah, lots of playoff hockey and hockey in general to go around.
All right, let's talk about the Reddit post.
Yeah, I think we should.
This guy made different teams, different themed teams of NHL players. So he had one that was the Connors. So you had like a first line of Connor Bedard, Connor McDavid, and Kyle Connor. Actually, he had 6 forwards and then 2 D pairs. But basically, you get the idea. Everyone's named Connor. You had the materials. So you had wood, stone, steel, glass, coal. The animals, the snacks. But the one that really stuck out to all of us was a man. And we'll put this up here on the screen. But basically, you have Hitman as the head, Armia as the arms. Is it Aman? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, I think so.
His name? That's like the body.
Yeah.
Carter Hart is obviously the heart. We'll save the best for last. We'll go down to the legs here. We have the legs are Walker, foot as the foot, Taves as the toes.
Taves.
And then you in the middle here you have Ball twice, and then in the middle you have Johnson. Fantastic work.
And his sprite or image is his portrait is elongated in an interesting shape. Yeah, I loved it. I thought that was very.
That was it. Just had to share.
That was fun.
20 viewers, even though this already has 7,000 likes from 2 days ago. But
the Meme Monday winner.
Yes.
Yeah, that one was great.
Good stuff. I guess we need to touch on these other 2 things real quick. NHL 24 is now playable on PC, which I didn't think this day would ever come. But it's not a separate PC port of the game. It's basically open the Xbox app and you play it through there. But you don't need a console. Before you could like mirror it from your console or whatever, but you need your console on and running. So now you can just play it on your PC, which is pretty cool. I only played 1 game and my ping was like 90, so I don't know if it was just unlucky or if there's, I think people talked about latency issues, so still further experimentation required, but step in the right direction. And
it probably
to have a separate console to play one other game that I wanted to play.
Yeah,
the only game that I couldn't play on PC.
That is nice. I feel like Microsoft has been trending towards like getting out of the console game. I feel like that's how they're gonna go, like with the failure of the Xbox Series S and X. Like
PlayStation can have it.
Yeah, like they've kind of produced on a level similar to the Wii U, I think. So that'll tell you, how well that they've been doing. Like PS4 has blown that out of the water, and then obviously the Switch and the incoming Switch 2 are both gonna be
PS4 or 5.
5, I think. I know PS4 is still doing pretty well though. Like a lot of people have still not upgraded their PS4s just because it wasn't worth the price.
know for the longest time you couldn't even find a PS5 anywhere.
Yeah, that's
I think,
also.
I
been
think
a
those
problem.
days are gone.
I think they finally are. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're probably
it's like
still
I can buy one
$500
now.
though.
$450. Unless you want the, well, I don't know, digital edition console.
Oh yeah,
There's one
that's
that's
the
450, one's 500.
there's
Yeah.
the digital version and then there's the physical version. Yeah.
The one that can like read discs, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, that's just a quick little thing. Then you had also put this Twitter post about the difference between like the crowd noise on the TNT broadcast versus the Sportsnet. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I mean, you can tell on the TNT one, like as soon as this is a Bruins clip, the Bruins scoring on the Panthers. As soon as the Bruins scored at home, like you just hear them like turn down the volume. It was already quiet to begin with, but the Sportsnet one is more like just the crowd noise. They don't filter as much, so kind of like the announcers almost yelling over the crowd, which, I mean, I think it's more immersive, but I guess
Yeah. I
don't
felt
know.
I felt
I
the
like the
same
way
way.
that the audio is mixed better on the Sportsnet one.
Yeah, I think so too. And a lot of Canadian fans and like in the comments were like, I can't believe like this is what the Americans like have to go through or whatever, and like maybe that's contributing to why people don't watch. I don't know how much merit there is to that, at least as far as in America, because it's the experience and like the just atmosphere of the broadcast is not nearly the same compared to watching it in Canada and on Sportsnet.
Yeah.
Maybe
All the
there's
comments
some
were like,
validity.
TNT sucks.
Yeah, yeah. And I know people have been critical of ESPN this year too. I don't think they've done a terrible job, but I think watching the games on ESPN has been annoying because like it's not on ESPN Plus like pretty much the whole regular season was, although tonight it is on there. I didn't actually look to see if it was still blacked out for me because the Rangers are playing. I know that the Max games that were in my local area were not blacked out during the playoffs, but I don't know if the ESPN Plus is like that. I feel like they probably are still blacked out if I had to take a guess, because that's just the way it goes. So that's a bummer, but it's not really integral to the broadcast part of things, which has been fine. Again, we've talked about the intermission timer during the breaks has been
Did we talk
nice.
about that?
Maybe we didn't mention it.
Yeah, I like that.
I like
the
it. I like it
countdown.
too.
I mean, they have it on the NHL app
countdown.
anyway, so that's what I used to refer to. But just having it there, like, I know we mute the intermissions anyway.
I do
but,
too.
Like, just being like, oh, 5 minutes left. Good to know.
Yeah, it's
And-
nice.
And they have it for puck drop too, like for the start of the game.
Yeah,
Like, I know it sucks when it's like, oh, instead of a 7:10, it's a 7:20 puck drop. But like, at least knowing it is like, well,
yeah, that always happens for the playoffs. Like normally in the regular season, you kind of know it's like maybe 8 to 10 minutes after like the normal start time is when the actual puck drop will happen. And then it seems like the regular season it takes forever. There's so many more festivities that go on.
playoff, yeah.
I wish they would just like tell you like when they schedule it, like it's starting at 7:23. Like that's fine.
know.
Like just tell me that. But I guess maybe for like the actual broadcast starting like on the when you go to the channel or whatever on TV, it's like okay, they have half hour or hour blocks or whatever it is. So that's probably why they don't do it that
I mean,
way.
some sports I feel like have the actual start times.
Some of them do. Like, I know, football can sometimes be specific like that to like the 5 minutes or whatever, but not always. But yeah, I don't know if that problem is ever really gonna go away.
No.
It is what it is.
Unless they like get rid of the anthem for whatever reason. Like,
Or they just don't televise it or something.
yeah. Who knows?
That's all
I'll
right.
live with it. Got anything else?
Florida's up 1-0 heading into the third period. Rangers do have 34 seconds left on their power play, so we'll see how this one wraps up. But good early start, I guess. Well, not great, but Matthew Tkachuk with his 5th of the playoffs. I would like to see if I can actually watch that on my TV downstairs, or if you have to go through other means, so to speak. Hopefully, I can just lounge on the couch.
Yeah.
But we'll leave it for you there. Good little episode, and yeah. I don't think the playoffs I don't think the conference finals will be wrapped up by next week.
Two sweeps.
Yeah, that would probably be the only scenario where that would happen, and I find that highly unlikely given these matchups, and it's just uncommon to see sweeps in the conference finals. But Florida did it last year, so
Bruins did it in 2019.
yeah, they did against Carolina. Yeah. Never know. That's why they play the games.
All right. See you guys next time.
Thank you, everyone. Subscribe and do all that good stuff. See ya. He was like, do you have a pool? I'm like, no. I just like weird hockey stuff. He's like, that's great. Here, give me $1. It's yours.